Hey, glad you could make it past the security node this late. Grab that chair if it's clean enough. The air filtration units are acting up again on this floor. That low, vibrating hum. It never really stops, does it? It just blends into the background of Sector 4 until you leave the city. If anyone ever actually leaves. I was just looking over some old optical drives. Physical media. You don't see much of it anymore since the cloud migration of '88. Most people just let their memories evaporate into the mainframes. But some cases stick to the silicon. They leave a physical residue. I ever tell you about the Midnight Phantom on the lower grid? No, I don't think I did. It's not the kind of file you leave open on a public terminal. It started on a Tuesday. The sky was that specific shade of bruised violet, the kind you only get when the atmospheric scrubbers are failing. I was sitting right here, watching the rain hit the reinforced glass. The droplets looked like digital static when the neon billboards flashed behind them. Magenta, cyan, then a total blackout for 3 seconds. Then magenta again. It loops forever. A data courier walked through that door, or rather, what was left of her digital identity did. She didn't say a word. She just laid down a cracked obsidian data chip. It was burning hot. Literally. You could smell the ozone radiating off the casing. The synthetic gold plating was beginning to warp around the edges. Usually, when a chip is that degraded, the code inside is just soup. Corruption, broken headers. But this one had a pulse. Literal, rhythmic pinging sound when I slotted it into the old terminal. It wasn't tracking numbers or corporate blueprints. It was a loop of a single street corner in the old zone, a place where the streetlights died 10 years ago. Just a solitary, holographic umbrella standing in the middle of a puddle, radiating a pale green luminescence. I spent 4 days analyzing the reflection in that puddle. You see, the modern neural links, they filter out the flaws. They make everything crisp, perfect. But the old copper wire networks, they captured the dirt, the distortion, the truth. I traced the signal origin to an abandoned server farm beneath the water treatment facility. The humidity down there does terrible things to cybernetics. My left optic kept recalibrating every 30 seconds. Click, whir, click, just trying to compensate for the mist. The walls were lined with obsolete cooling units, hundreds of them, completely silent, covered in a thick layer of bioluminescent moss that grew because of the leaking coolant. It emitted the soft, pale glow. It felt like walking through the ribcage of a dead leviathan that had swallowed 1,000 neon signs. And there, in the center of the room, wasn't a criminal. It wasn't a rogue artificial intelligence either. It was just a localized terminal, running a simulation of a cafe that used to exist on the surface 50 years ago, before the concrete tiers were built over it, before the sky became property of the syndicates. The program was just repeating an afternoon, a specific Tuesday afternoon in autumn. Sound of porcelain cups, the murmur of voices that didn't exist anymore, the smell of actual, non-synthetic coffee beans being roasted, and was consuming 3% of the sector's power grid, just to keep that ghost alive. And the courier who brought me the chip, she was the daughter of the man who programmed it. He passed away into the digital ether a decade prior, but he left this fragment behind. A monument made of code, an illegal, unmonetized memory hidden in the plumbing of the metropolis. And I had my hand on the override switch. The department rules were clear. Unsanctioned data allocation is a Class 3 infraction. You pull the plug, you salvage the copper, you move to the next file. That's how you survive 30 years in this coat. But I looked at the reflection of that green holographic umbrella in the virtual puddle, and I looked at my own reflection in the terminal monitor. My cybernetic eye looked so sterile compared to the warmth of that broken, glitching simulation. I didn't pull the switch. Instead, I rerouted the power signature, and I disguised it as a cooling leak in the municipal grid, a ghost in the machine that the automated maintenance drones would just ignore. I wrote down the file as data irretrievable due to thermal degradation. Sometimes, when the rain gets exceptionally heavy, and the neon lights from the street level start to blur into a single, continuous stream of color, I wonder about that cafe. I wonder if the simulation is still running down there, in the dark, surrounded by the moss and the rusted steel. We spend so much time upgrading, replacing our parts, swapping out old memories for faster processors. We patch our flaws until we don't recognize the original blueprint anymore. We become these flawless machines, living in a fractured world. The courier never came back for the chip. I kept it here, in the bottom drawer. It's cold now. The circuit boards inside have finally given up their charge. But the story doesn't need electricity to stay in the room. It just sits here, in the corner, where the shadows meet the glow of the monitor. The city is quiet now, or as quiet as it ever gets. The transport drones are flying lower because of the fog. You can hear their repulsor engines pushing against the heavy air, like a giant breathing through a copper pipe. It's strange how a city with 10 million people can feel like an empty hallway when you're looking at the right piece of data. Everyone plugged in, everyone drifting through their own personal networks, looking for something that someone else deleted a long time ago. I think I'll leave the terminal on tonight. Just the command prompt. The little white cursor blinking against the black screen. Pulse, pulse, pulse. It's the only honest thing left in this district. It doesn't try to sell you anything. It just waits for input. It just listens. You should probably close those communication channels soon. The network traffic gets erratic after midnight. Too many phantom signals bouncing off the satellites. Let the firewalls do their job for a few hours. The data will still be there when the scrubbers cycle the air again tomorrow. Just let the rain rinse the copper. Let the grid take care of itself for a little while. It doesn't need us to watch it bleed neon all night long. Tell me, if you had the power to preserve one uncorrupted memory from your original architecture, even if it meant breaking every protocol you were programmed to follow, what would you choose to save? Till next time.